Power. Let's go straight to the federal election now, and with only 3 days to go, the major parties are trying to sharpen their messages and maintain momentum towards election day. The Federal Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, joins me now in the studio. Treasurer, good morning to you.
Nice to be with you, Michael. 3
days to go. The polls have you widely behind the Labor Party. Is it now mission impossible for the coalition to retain government?
I don't know which poll you've been reading, Michael. It's been 51-49 in Newspoll, which tends to be the most accurate, and it's been
steady. Which would give the Labor Party anywhere between a 7 and 8 seat victory.
But what is very clear, it's going to be close, and what we have seen throughout this campaign is a clear choice between what the parties are offering the Australian people. Now, at a time of escalating trade tensions between our major trading and investment partners, US and China, at a time of slowing global economic growth, and at a time of high impact from the floods and the droughts that we've seen on our economy here in Australia, it's the worst possible time for Australia to be subject to $387 billion of higher taxes from the Labor Party. We're delivering record spending on health and on schools and on roads and tax cuts, and we're doing all of that without increasing taxes.
OK, so you say you've been a good government. Why have you had 3 Prime Ministers in 6 years?
Well, as you know, both sides of politics have rotated Prime Ministers in the last decade or so, and I don't think that's served the country well.
But we're judging, and voters do tend to judge governments, as they did the Labor Party in 2013, on their performance. And a lot of voters are still telling us they haven't received a proper answer as to why, if, as you said, everything in your view was going well, why Malcolm Turnbull was rolled in August last year.
Well, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has answered that question, but we're looking to the future.
What's your answer?
Well, the party room spoke, and you know my position was quite clear throughout that process. But the party room spoke, and now we're looking to the future, and Scott Morrison has won the confidence and the respect of the Australian people. He's clearly the preferred leader over Bill Shorten. He's campaigned very strongly, but it's about the Australian people and what we are offering them, and that is continued strong economic growth and an economy that's not a trophy to go up in the cabinet or on the shelf. It's merely a means to an end, which is better essential services, managing the population growth, busting the congestion, paying back Labor's debt and leaving them to earn more and keep more of what they earn.
So just to make it clear for voters, particularly in your seat, in Victoria, lots of Melbourne seats where Malcolm Turnbull was and arguably still is popular, in your view, I know you've said it's on the public record, but explain why was Malcolm Turnbull dispatched by your party?
Again, I'm focusing on the future. You can ask me this 6 or 7 ways.
We're 3 days... But why? If you give me a straight answer, we can move on to the next topic.
Well, the straight answer is the party room spoke, and that's the processes that both party rooms have.
Why did the party room speak?
Well, the point is that the party room spoke. You know my position. I support...
Why did it speak?
Well, it made its determination that we, with a new leader, we would be best able to win the next election. Now, we've got that new leader in Scott Morrison, and Michael, he has performed very strongly, but it's about what is on offer to the Australian people at this election. We're for lower taxes. We're for more spending on essential services. We're for $100 billion of infrastructure investment. We're for 80,000 new apprentices. We're for record spending on mental health, fully funding the NDIS, the things that matter to people. That's what we're for. Now, Bill Shorten's offering a very radical alternative. He says that he wants to run the economy, the country, like a union. And we know that won't end well. And the more the Labor Party spends, the more they tax, and the more they tax, the more they weaken the economy. That's a message that's resonating. This is the bill Australia can't afford.
If the economy is going so well, why did the Reserve Bank of Australia on Friday downgrade growth forecast for the next year?
Well, we've seen with the Reserve Bank that they've pointed to the very strong labour market, and in fact they're more aggressive than we are in terms of having lower unemployment forecasts than what we put out in the budget.
But they're very pessimistic about the growth forecast, and this comes after 6 years of a coalition government.
They're actually not pessimistic. What they're saying is that we're going to continue to grow strongly. We're growing faster than any G7 country except the United States, but it does underline, Michael, why this is the worst possible time for Bill Shorten's higher taxes, because you don't create higher wages with higher taxes. You don't create more jobs with higher taxes. You don't strengthen the economy with higher taxes. Doesn't matter what the question is. Bill Shorten's answer is always higher taxes.
You raised News Poll. Let's get back to it. In the breakdown of the latest poll, it had the Labor Party in Victoria 54% of the coalition, 46%. So are you worried as a Melbourne MP that those voters who wielded their baseball bats against your Victorian state colleagues last year are now back in their practice swings ahead of Saturday?
Well, Michael, I do think state elections and federal elections are fought on different issues, and this has been a challenging state for the coalition. That being said, we have outstanding candidates and local members. The battles are tight in those seats, including in my own seat of Kooyong.
How tight is it? How nervous are you about maintaining what is, on paper, a safe Liberal seat of Kooyong?
Well, I'm not nervous, I'm focused. And in my conversations with people right across the electorate, I'm very buoyed by the positive response I've received. They know that I have delivered for the people of Kooyong and want to continue to do so. They know that a safe house for vulnerable women in our community, I was able to get money for that. They know that I was able to support a school for kids with severe autism. They know that I've backed our sporting organisations and our volunteer groups and our local environmental projects. So they know that I'm delivering for Kooyong, that I work hard for Kooyong, but importantly that I listen to the people in Kooyong.
We are broadcasting tomorrow from the seat of Higgins, which neighbours your seat in Melbourne. Kelly O'Dwyer was the former member. She has stood aside this election. She told quite a few of her colleagues after the Victorian state election that, in her view, lots of people regarded the Liberal Party as homophobic, anti-women and climate change deniers. So it's not exactly a ringing endorsement for the person the Liberal candidate trying to replace her in that seat.
Well, Katie Allen is an outstanding candidate in Higgins. She's world-renowned for her medical research. She's a paediatrician and a researcher, someone who has really given her career and her life to public service. I'm really pleased that she's putting her hand up now for office, and together we've made some significant announcements that affect the people of Kooyong and Higgins, including putting a major level crossing at the Kooyong station underground, which will relieve traffic congestion.
What do you make of that comment though? The homophobic, anti-women and climate change deniers. Do you believe, and based on that news poll, which is pretty depressing for the Liberal Party, do you fear Victorian voters share those views about the Liberal Party?
Well, as I said, I think there's a lot of seats that will be close, but I also know that our candidates have been campaigning very strongly and that they have received very positive feedback and that we have outlined the issues that are important to the people, including ensuring that there is record spending on infrastructure, including record spending on essential services, including paying back Labor's debt and cutting taxes. Now, we've seen from Bill Shorten throughout this campaign a elevation in the class warfare rhetoric. And just yesterday in Burnie, Bill Shorten said, Michael, that retirees can put their feet up on the yacht and talk about their franking credits. Well, actually, that sort of class warfare rhetoric, which pits one Australian against another, is very damaging for our community. These retirees are not necessarily rich, but Bill Shorten's going after their money because he can't manage it.
Well, he came back to that comment and that criticism and said, yes, the changing to the franking credits are being put in place to ensure, amongst other things, that pensioners get free dental treatment.
Well, pensioners,
is that something you support?
Well, pensioners will be hit by his retirees tax, $50,000, and despite his protestations to the contrary. I mean, the reality
But a whole lot more, and you know there's a whole lot more that he's talking about in terms of free dental treatment, will experience the benefit of the dental treatment.
But Michael, what he has failed to outline in his costings is the detrimental and negative impact this higher tax burden, it will be the highest taxing highest taxing government Australia's ever seen under Bill Shorten, the negative detrimental impact that will have on the economy from all these high taxes. The housing tax, the retirees tax, high taxes on super, high taxes on income earners and high taxes on family business.
Finally, Josh Frydenberg, if it all goes to hell in a handbasket for the Liberal Party on Saturday night, will you stick your hand up to be the leader of the Liberal opposition?
I'm looking forward to continuing to serve Scott Morrison as his deputy. He's done a fantastic job and I'm looking forward to him being re-elected and to be staying as the Prime Minister of Australia after May the 18th.
Would you like to be Liberal leader one day?
I am very much enjoying being Treasurer and serving with Scott Morrison as part of the leadership team.
Treasurer Josh Frydenberg, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.